Hey, welcome back to Narratives of the Body with Leo. As I mentioned in my previous videos, Sally has decided to take a break, so it's going to be me. And this week I'm going to take a little bit of time to recenter the series and also talk about what's coming up in the next episode. So the series is all about how the stories we tell ourselves, how the stories that are being told about us because of who we are, either we were born female, we were born white, we were born black, how those stories affect us and affect our identity, how they affect the stories we tell ourselves, and then also the mind-body connection, right? So if you're being told something, how does that manifest in your body? How do you hold that physically? This week we're going to focus on being queer and being religious, and what kind of stories we grow up with when we are religious and queer. I grew up Pentecostal, which is a very evangelical religion, very strict. When I think back to when I first realized I liked women, I was 5. So I'm little, right? And I just remember having crushes on my babysitters. And unfortunately, my babysitters were often my cousins. So that's kind of awkward. But anyways, I liked women. I knew that. I knew I liked girls. I just knew I wasn't supposed to, and I didn't know why. So that was a story that was given to me somewhere along the way, that this feeling was wrong. And this wrongness kind of evolved over time to, obviously, to shame, right? So if we're told that something or some way we are, some way we feel is wrong, it's going to turn into shame. Obviously, I didn't have the words for that back then. I just knew I was wrong. I shouldn't have these feelings of love and like. Then I go and I become Pentecostal, and I was really drawn to religion and really drawn to spirituality from a very young age. Around the same age, around 5, I was really grappling with the idea that we are these bodies are just temporary. I want to talk though about the effects of being told that being queer was wrong, not just wrong, but an abomination, disgust, one of the worst things I could be, and how that felt, how that manifests in my body to this day, how that affected my course of my life. But I also want to talk about how I'm overcoming and continually working with and reframing and moving away from that narrative of being wrong, bad, gross, all the bad words. All right, so as a child, I really was like, all right, here's the facts. The facts is, I'm from Indiana. I'm a little bit of a hillbilly. Get used to it. Facts are, I like girls. Liking girls is wrong, period. So my childhood was centered around this wrongness and a battle. So I had this battle in me to no longer feel this certain way. I become Pentecostal. This battle continues, goes on and on. I'm praying all the time. Please, God, please make me not gay. Make me different. And there's scriptures about childlike faith. I'm like, I got this, bro. I'm a young little baby. I am dedicated to the religion. I'm going to church constantly. I'm praying constantly. I'm devoted. I'm kind. I'm a good person. God is going to take away this gayness. So I spent so many days and so many nights and so many prayers just praying not to be gay. And in our church, and I think in a lot of Pentecostal churches, at the end of the service, you gather at the front to pray, and they have people that will surround you and lay their hands on you, the laying on of hands, which is also biblical. So they dab a little oil, lay on of hands, and I would have these groups, circles around me of people with their hands on me. And the whole time I'm praying, and I'm feeling so close to God and such inner peace, but I'm also hoping to not be gay. So instead of just basking and bathing in this warmth, I was also battling at the same time. So like this really deep peace came with also this double-edged sword of pain and trauma and shame. So for me, my plan up until I was probably, I would say 20, was that God will cure this. God will fix this. And if you're curious, I don't know how much more one can do as a teenager than I did. I dedicated myself both in how I dressed, spoke, acted. I was at church constantly. So I would say any Christian or any person out there that has this really strong belief that God can cure or take away gay, I mean, I did all the work. It didn't work. Like that was the conclusion I came to. The narrative of my body was, I'm a female. Because I'm a female, I cannot like women, so I can't love. So here I am, getting into my 20s, and into my 20s, I started to reject this idea that being gay was wrong. And I started embracing it, and I started embracing being queer and being a fag, and really letting go of God, letting go of that idea. But what's interesting throughout this whole process, the shame is always there. I'm always being shamed. I'm always being told I'm a sinner. I'm a backslider. I'm not right. I'm not okay. I'm not good. So how does one go from the age of 9 years old, constantly being told they're not good, that there's a part of them that's disgusting? How do you build any sort of confidence, any sort of love, any sort of growth and care for yourself? I'll admit my 20s were pretty self-destructive, but I don't even like to say self-destructive because it was self-exploratory. I was looking at my options. I was drinking a lot. What I did is I started to overcome this shame and this guilt that I still wrestle with daily. I started to see past that. It's funny because I actually started seeing value and worth in my physical self, my physical being, and who I was and how I looked. And I think a lot of people are like, look for something deeper inside. And I get that. But vanity sometimes is self-love. I really believe that. And I subscribe to that. So for me, it was like, I am now able to physically create whatever I want out of this physical being. And that person and that creation I love. I've created this thing. And then I found mentors. And what's so funny in my 20s, I was so hungry for an adult that, although I was an adult, but I was so hungry for someone older than me to see value in me. Because I had had so many adults in my life not see that. So for me, it was college. Once I had went back to school after I dropped out, it was the Jen Paolonis and the Ryan Sparrows and the Colleens and the Dawn News and these people that came into my life that were just a few years older than me, but just really told me that I was talented, that I was valuable, that I had worth. And I needed, we talk about validation and not wanting to have others validate us. We all need that, right? And I needed validation. I needed that I deserved to exist, that I wasn't an abomination. What I've done is, one, I've had to really work on my physical self and my opening. So what it did to my body, this story of you're bad, you're an abomination, this story of shame, of guilt for just having feelings that were love, feelings of love and like and care, but feelings that weren't what I was supposed to be having according to this religion. What that did to my body is I literally closed up. So my shoulders, I've worked probably for like 5 years now on opening my shoulders. My shoulders are very rounded. It physically closed me up. My hips, I actually have really bad hip pain because my hips are also, and my legs, everything's closed. So what I do is I do a lot of yoga, I do a lot of stretching, I get chiropractic work, I get massages. This is when COVID's not happening. So, and it's always about opening. So when someone is queer and their whole life they're being told they're not good or not okay, that shame just builds up And what you do is you almost create like a shell, a human shell of yourself, so that you're protected. And when I talk about these things, I can feel my body, really start to close up. Even now during this video, I know I've been closing up. I probably started the video more open. And that's a narrative. It's a narrative that I've been told that's literally affecting my physical body. The other thing is I'm going to drop a bomb on you here. I'm constipated. All the time. I'm actually on medication for constipation, like prescribed, not over the counter, it's prescribed medicine to poop. So what I've found too is when I deal with any trauma related to Pentecostal religion, like when I, have to deal with someone reaching out to me and saying something like, inviting me to church or sending a scripture, or I see something triggering, I will be constipated for weeks. So even with my medicine, and it's like, what? Your poop is what's going on? Like, you can't poop? What's the deal? But my body, it closes up like everything. Like, no poop, no poop, because you're bad. And it's interesting, the last couple of weeks I've been really, really focusing on shame and guilt, because while I've been very aware that those were a part of my narrative, I don't think I've tackled them head on and said, you were actively shamed as a child. People were actively shaming you. That shit's hard. You need to sit with that and recognize that. Not the shame, but you need to sit with the fact that someone shamed you and find that peace in that. I'm not a big fan of the word healing, because I think we're always in a constant state of anything can harm you at any time. Something could happen. That's the reality. I mean, we didn't expect COVID. We're in COVID. That's traumatic. So I don't believe in healing, but I believe in observing and seeing and recognizing and calling things out and giving them a name, and finding ways to reclaim your own personal narrative around whatever you're being told. So all I'd say, I'm doing a lot of shame guilt work right now, and I'm pooping every day. I ran out of my medicine 2 days ago, and I still have pooped every day. So what I'm saying is, I can poop because I'm dealing with the shame and guilt that I dealt with, that I was given as a child. That's the other thing. I take no ownership in someone else's need to shame or guilt me. So it's not my shame or guilt. I was given shame or guilt. I was given it, and I'm not going to own that. That's not my story. It's not my narrative. So yeah, that's kind of the physical body and how it affected me. And then I've overcome it through literally using my body, opening up, taking up space to say, I am here, I am good, I am kind, and there is nothing wrong with me. There is no abomination. I am a good person. The other thing is, really, I always say I celebrate myself. I joke, so my birthday's next week, so say happy birthday to me, August 19th. The reason I make such a big deal about my birthday and I celebrate for a month is that I want to celebrate myself, because I deserve that. I deserve to be celebrated. And I've found people in my life to celebrate me. We all deserve that. You especially need that when your whole life you've been told you're not good. The core of your love and what drives you is an abomination. You need that love. So if you're a queer person, young queer person, and you're struggling and you're having people in your life that are shaming you or making you feel bad or guilty, find those people that celebrate you and cling to them, and find ways to celebrate yourself. Celebrate your birthday for a week, a month, whatever. Find these little moments to celebrate who you are, because you are worthy of celebration. You're worthy of love. You're worthy of peace. You're worthy of calm. And it's all about getting away from those old bullshit narratives that you're not good. You need to pray something away. It's not true. It's not reality. It's made up bullshit to suppress and to control. Did I say bullshit enough? Thank you for watching. On the next episode, we'll have my wife, Amy. And she is going to be talking about how chronic illness changed her identity. And it's really literally the body. It's kind of the opposite of what happened with me. I had this shaming, and that turned into a physical ailment. And then she had a physical ailment that changed something about her personality. Stick with me. I appreciate it. Subscribe. There'll be more videos, more guests, and share in the comments ways that your stories that have been told about you, or the stories that you've been telling yourself, how they have affected you or empowered you, ways you've overcome. I really want to hear those stories.